Hey everyone, Nathan Underdark here from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. Today we're going to be talking about Monster BFF, the Darkmantle, and Hook Horror.
So your I'm Ted.
And I'm Dave.
So your Darkmantle is found on page 46 of your trusty monster manual.
And I'm looking at page 189 for the Hook Horror. So how do these guys possibly work together?
Well, they both like the dark.
They both like the dark. They both like the Underdark, if you will. And, you know, they've got the great synergy of both doing things by echolocation. They don't actually see anything.
They both use blind sight. Well,
It seems like they both have eyes, though.
yeah, they do. The Hook Horror does see. It's got dark vision up to 10 foot.
Oh, all the way out to 10 feet. Oh, my
It's like
word.
So-
nearsighted, dark sight. Oh no.
Yeah. So they are kind of nearsighted, but they're not blind. And here's the thing. So Hook Horrors are pack animals. Well, they're not even animals, really. They have a 6 intelligence, so they're not completely.
Are they pack monstrosities?
They're pack monstrosities. So they're clannish in nature. They're generally ruled by the oldest female, and then that female like picks an alpha male to be the leader of the hunt, the pack of the hunt, and so that's how it normally works with them. The synergy is the fact that they would share the same terrain. Neither of them rely on sight or visual stimuli for targeting their prey. The Hook Horrors are way too big for Darkmantles to even think about trying to eat.
Yep.
But the Darkmantles, interestingly enough, have the ability to cast darkness once a day, 50-foot radius, which would not bother a Hook Horror at all.
Right.
So they would actually work really well together when it comes to hunting. Now, Darkmantles have an intelligence of 2, so they're animal intelligence.
Yep.
Smart for an animal, but still
Still an animal. Right.
And and the Hook Horrors are equivalent to not so smart people.
So the Darkmantle is going to know that it can't tangle with the Hook Horrors.
Yeah, because it generally doesn't go after anything larger than medium-sized man size.
Yeah, and the Hook Horrors have the necessary means to mess them up, so they're gonna stay away from that, even if it was a consideration.
So
It's like the hyenas versus the lion kind of concept. Yeah, you could go get him, but
It's too much trouble.
yeah,
way too
much trouble.
So here you've got a group of Hook Horrors who have kind of adopted Darkmantles to kind of, help them out on the hunt, so to speak. It's kind of like, these are their pack hounds.
Here, I want to pitch 2 different ideas real quick.
All right, go for it.
The one is the Hook Horror that is basically using them as their hounds, and basically is a way to gain advantage on their quarry, because most things that can see in the dark can still not see in magical darkness.
Right.
So hey, that's great. Like, you got this little weak monster that drops on your head. You can't see anything. There's darkness, and you finally rip it off, and then the Hook Horror lays into you.
Right.
Like, it's, oh my god, if you want to put it back. You know what I mean?
Like, get the speck on my head.
So you have that going on, right? So that's why they work together. But my idea is, okay, the clan that adopts the colony of Darkmantles, or the clan that gets nearly wiped out except for one Hook Horror, and in order to, and there's no other, either other clans won't accept him, or whatever reason, he's a solo monster now. He finds a colony of Darkmantles and kind of like adopts them, or the Darkmantles accept it. Maybe even maybe they start following around like scavengers.
Yeah, he's like the ogre of the of that section of the Underdark. Big old Hook Horror, and there are just a whole bunch of little.
But he's smart, so he's like, oh, wait a minute. And once he starts studying them, for whatever reason, he has no desire to eat them. Maybe they don't taste good. Whatever. They keep flying away. But he feels like, or he's just lonely, right? He's just lonely, and they're following him around. He's like, well, this is almost like having my clan. So I almost like it better like that than the clan that adopts the colony of Darkmantles. I mean, for a more challenging encounter, you could use a group of Hook Horrors and Darkmantles. But for like a fun story, I like the idea of the Hook Horror that his clan has been decimated. He's the sole survivor, and the Underdark is a very dangerous place, and his means of survival is he's hooked up with the Darkmantles, which makes him so much more deadly.
Right.
You know, they drop down with their magical darkness on prey, and then he drops down from the ceiling and just lays into whatever it is.
Yeah, because these guys are gonna, crush for a, piddly D6 plus 3 damage, but the hook horror is hitting with 2 hooks at 2d6 plus 4. So if you got 1 mantle and 1 hook horror, you're looking at over 5 die 6 plus a 11 damage. That's some serious hurting on a surprise victim.
Yeah, that's not exactly a lightweight. And then if you say, oh, it's a colony of Darkmantles, and there's actually a group of them, like half a dozen.
Right.
In addition to the hook horror, and for one, they all drop down on the party, and boom, now you have 6 15-foot radius globes of darkness. That's a lot of darkness to move out of. Like you can't even move out of that. Most characters can't even move out of that in one round.
I would be tempted to kind of stage that behind the screen and just let them visualize and be like, okay, what are you doing? And I'm gonna
you set it up and not let them look at the
right. I try and run out of it. I run to the left.
It's like, because if they're
without them knowing,
if they're in a corridor and all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's now darkness. If they don't do anything to literally combat the darkness, then it literally should just be
theater of the mind,
because it's like, well,
but you as the DM can set it up so you can see what's going on.
Right. Have the miniatures set up behind the screen so that okay, well, all right, I'm gonna move 30 feet that way. All right, when you move 30 feet that way, you're still in darkness. Yet,
Yeah, or you get gutted by the hook horror as he takes an attack of opportunity.
So and you get a tentacle thing on your head.
Yeah, because I know that when miniatures are visible to everybody, like they use information that's not really that their character wouldn't have.
Yeah, no. So that would be mechanically that would be an interesting thing to do with it.
Right. Now I would think the supreme setup for where if you had the hook horrors that were taking on these packs of Darkmantle is you'd have it in like a crystalline cave with they have the stalactites and stalagmites, and you'd have all these jagged crystal pieces, pillars and things all over the place, and like uneven terrain, and there'd be paths like crushed crystal paths that the hook horrors would be taking, but you figure you've got these hook horrors coming out of different alcoves and different areas as like an ambush,
and you got difficult terrain and obstacles. Oh yeah, that's would make a really fun encounter.
And even when you get out of the different pieces of darkness, if it's sporadic, you could be face to face with jagged crystals. Like you run and you get out of the darkness, and then you're like, you have to stop right away because there's all these jagged crystal wall or something.
So essentially,
it's just kind of this crazy maze.
You're incorporating all this like natural hazards into the combat, and in addition to like that's like if you want to step it up and have the the clan and the colony that work together, that would be really interesting to do. Mechanically, and it would make for a really tough fight. You could challenge a much higher level party with this lower level encounter,
right?
And it'd be funny too, or it'd be even funnier too, like if only like one character could actually see, like maybe there's a warlock in the bunch, or or the other thing that I'm thinking is right. The cool part about it being a group of Hookars is the way they communicate is basically by scratching against their hooks or against their exoskeleton, which most other creatures can't identify that as language, but that's actually their language.
Right.
That would be eerie as fuck.
Yeah, that'd be really crazy.
Yeah, basically you hear that from all around you in different positions,
like a half-tongue cricket kind of thing.
Yeah, basically. So it's like, do you run towards the noise or away from the noise?
Yeah, I would be really happy if I picked up an Eladrin at that point. I'd be like, I think the exit is 60 feet behind me. Good enough. I'm out of here.
Nice.
It's like teleporting.
And hope you don't teleport into a crystal.
Oh, yeah. There would be that risk.
So like I would be tempted to make up, if there isn't in the DMG, the sharp crystal hazard.
Yeah.
Some of it would just be difficult terrain.
Some of them might act as caltrips, right?
Yeah.
Some of it could act as caltrips, or if they actually like move into it or brush it up. I give it I don't know, like razor crystal or something like that. Where touching it is. is detrimental. And maybe it doesn't bother the Hook Horrors because their exoskeleton's so thick.
Right.
Yeah, they'd have to actually like jam themselves onto it, but
yeah, impale themselves. Well, and then the other thing
but
too,
an adventurer reaching around in the dark trying to not hit a wall can cut themselves on it.
So, you said reach around. Yeah. So the other aspect of this is interesting. One is the Darkmantles can fly. They have a fly speed.
Yes.
2, the Hook Horrors have a climb speed. So like you can really take this battle into 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
And you know basically have these the Hook Horrors attacking paratrooper style. And you know, their blind sight is actually really good compared to most creatures. 60 feet is really far.
Yes.
Yeah, considering I think 30 is like really good blind sight for most of the things.
Yeah, so they're exceptional. So you know, I think this makes for a really fun, deadly encounter, and you can really scale it, you know, up or down really easy by adding more Hook Horrors.
Right.
You know, at just a couple Darkmantles and a Hook Horror, it can be an interesting and challenging encounter for a low level party.
Right.
You know, a half a dozen of each.
you're pushing it way up there.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you're gonna have characters are going to at the higher levels have more resources available to counter the darkness.
Mm-hmm. I fireball the party.
I don't know if that counteracts the darkness. That counteracts the party.
That'll counteract the Darkmantles, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. But you know, that's the thing. Like they didn't, you know, initially when it's just like the dark globes of darkness dropping down, you know, maybe they're not even gonna know that there's Darkmantles. They're not even gonna know what the source of the dark is. They just can't see anymore.
Right, and that's what you have to, you know, it's all about presentation. You know, if you just start, you know, pulling out your Darkmantle minis and popping it down on top of the guys, and it's like, oh. Well, that's what's going on.
That's a weird squid hat that you gave me.
Yeah.
I wonder what's up with that.
Yeah.
And why I suddenly can't see.
Like, you know, maybe you have a character with uber observation or perception skills, and so, you know, what they actually see is they see, you know, they see the globes of darkness falling from the ceiling.
Mm.
But they don't, you know, but they don't see anything else.
Right.
It's just that they don't know what that is.
Or maybe they see, like, right before everything goes black, they see, like, gray black stalactites where the rest of them are some other shade or crystal. You know, they see, like, a difference.
Yeah.
But they don't know what that is.
Although I believe the Darkmantles, do they have the camouflage ability where they appear to be...
It says that they look exactly like a regular stalactite or stalagmite.
Yeah, but granted, if this was a crystal cavern, then they would look...
Yeah.
You know, they would be the oddballs.
Right.
Maybe they're like octopus and they can just make themselves look like crystal instead. That could...
Well, that's perfectly feasible. I mean, I did it with piercers. I just, instead of looking like... I did the crystal...
Mm-hmm. The crystal piercer.
Yeah, the crystal piercer instead of... There's nothing different. It just looked different, so it blended in with the ceiling.
Yep.
The same effect happens. It blends in with what it's supposed to blend in with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking for a Underdark encounter to harry your players with, you know, think about the crystal cavern that is inhabited by Darkmantles and their pet owners, the Hook Horrors, and throw that at your players and see how they deal with that. You can let us know what you think in the comments below while you're at it. Like, share, and subscribe.
You can head over to nerdarchy.com and check out the store.
You also patronize us in a good way on Patreon.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.